What's going on? It's Jason Heath, and we are digging today into Hal Robinson's new edition of the Quad. I have never checked this out. I can't believe I haven't. Hal sent me this, and let's take a look. All right, so here we go. I got a note from Hal. Thank you, Hal. That's an honor to get this. This is cool because this is available both in digital form and physical form. So I have the deluxe edition here. This is all 4 volumes of the Quad. You can get each volume individually, or you can get them all as a set, and you can do that both digitally and in print. I've been a huge fan of Hal's books, Boardwalkin' and Strokin'. I've used them for decades at this point. In my own practicing, I use them every day. In my teaching, I've done videos on both of those, and I will link to those up here. Definitely worth checking out as well. And you can get those in physical form from Robertson and Sons. So the Quad and Boardwalk and Strokin', you can get the physical copies at Robertson and Sons. And we'll link to that in the description below.
It's a culmination of a lot of, obviously, a lot of years of work, but with Brent's help, I was able to sort of clean it up a little bit. We tried especially hard to make sure that the markings were the same that were in the parts and get the measure numbers in, and the detail work was just incredible. The amount of times we had to go back for editing. People have asked for the Quads, they looked awful. They were just Xeroxes with awful markings on it and everything. And they really didn't contain what I want them to know, which is what I've learned about each piece and ways to make it really work. So I was able to share a lot of those ideas. So I'm super excited about that.
All right, so here we go, diving into the Quad. And so Renan Meyer Entertainment published this. Renan's a friend, a former student of Hal's, and one heck of a bass player. So this was engraved by Brent Edmondson. Brent is writing film scores for Netflix at the moment, which is very cool. We've got a glossary of symbols. Like Hal's other books, it's great to have that laid out in the beginning just so there's no confusion as you go through things. If you're wondering why Hal calls this the Quad, and I had wondered that in the past, Hal lays this out here in the preface. So the idea behind the Quad is to take the standard orchestral repertoire, the most commonly asked repertoire, and to divide it into 4 chunks so that you do 1 chunk each semester. That way, every 2 years, you're getting through this entire list. So that means that in freshman and sophomore year, they get a chance to go through it in more of a basic fashion, just introducing it, and then more detailed junior and senior year. So here are the quads and how they're divided up. Quad 1, we've got Mahler 1, Prokofiev, Lieutenant Kijé, Romance, Mozart 35, movements 1 and 4, Strauss Don Juan, Beethoven 9, movements 1 and 4, Smetana Bartered Bride Overture. Quad 2, Britten's Young Person's Guide, Bach's Orchestral Suite number 2, Brahms Symphony number 2, movements 1, 2, and 4, Mahler 2, first movement, Beethoven 7, movement 1, Beethoven number 3, movement 3, Mozart Marriage of Figaro, and Haydn number 88, movements 1 and 4. Quad 3, you've got Strauss and Heldenleben, Beethoven 5, second and third movements, Mendelssohn Symphony number 4, movements 1 and 4, Stravinsky, Pulcinella, Duetto, Verdi, Otello, Bass Soli, Mozart, Symphony number 39, movements 1, 2, and 4. And then Quad 4, Mozart 40, movements 1 and 4, Brahms, Symphony number 1, complete, Shostakovich, Symphony number 5, Berlioz, Symphony Fantastique, complete, Schubert, Symphony number 9, movements 2, 3, and 4, Ginastera, Variaciones Concertantes, the famous harp and bass solo movement. All right, let's dig into Quad 1. This is all very cleanly laid out here. Lots of great detail. Hal gives some introductory information for each one of these excerpts and how he thinks about the context of these excerpts. That's very cool. All sorts of details are laid out here. So for Mahler 1, the famous bass solo, he goes through the original bowing and shows what he likes to do, actually starting down bow. Also, the famous Lieutenant Kijé solo is here, and a similar amount of detail in that. All these details on dots, on how to play forte versus forte piano, it's all incredibly helpful. And this is just so easy to look at on the page, so clean. When there are a couple of different options, whether it's separate bowing or slurred bowing, like here on page 11, measure 59 for the Hofner Symphony, oftentimes it's done separate bows, oftentimes it's done with slurs, so you've got both options laid out here. Again, very clean and clear. There's great wit in here too, talking about Hofner Movement 4. Hal writes, "This movement strikes fear into the heart of most bass players. That has been true in my life for sure." Tapers and such, where they're not printed in the part, but a good idea, he marks those in parentheses. And figures that are in one bow but aren't slurred, he's got a dotted slur over that. Again, very clean and clear, makes a lot of sense. Hal gives you some background on the recitatives from Beethoven 9, the fourth movement. Again, giving you just enough info about why this is a unique passage, but not bogging you down with too much of the history of the piece. You can certainly find more of that elsewhere, but just giving you enough to understand the why and then providing you with details on how to approach it, what to think about. It's great. Okay, quad 2. So this would be semester 2, and students would be doing this for a semester. So they go through this twice during their college career. This is a great model for anyone teaching college bass. This is a fantastic model, or just using these books would be a great idea. So we've got Young Person's Guide, which is a really cool excerpt, a lot of fun to play. There's a lot of detail in Brahms too, and Hal lays out what to think about in this. The articulations are critical in here, and he's got all sorts of good advice for this one in terms of thinking about the espressivo, the poco forte espressivo line, all very helpful. Getting advice on these excerpts from someone with the background of Hal being principal bass of the Philadelphia Orchestra for a long time and the National Symphony before that, that's a lot of wisdom being put onto these pages. Hal rounds out this quad with Haydn 88, which is the only non-solo part from a Haydn symphony that's really asked on auditions. This is not asked so frequently these days as Hal describes, but it's still worth learning for students. Again, it's great to see Hal's fingerings and these nice, clean, well laid out parts. I'm so sick of looking at my fingerings that have been scribbled out and rewritten 1,000 times on my parts and then photocopied, and those have been scribbled out. So it's great to just see something nice and clean and clear and easy to read. Now we get into Mendelssohn 4, a piece that has always terrified me when I've had to do an audition, so it's great to get Hal's advice on how to approach this piece. Get a little bit of historical information, just enough to sort of understand the musical context that this piece is, and the time frame in terms of classical and romantic and where that sits. So that's helpful to know, and then we get right into the practicalities of how to start this, which can be a challenge here. Hal gives you some great advice. For the fourth and final quad, Hal gets into Mozart 40, Brahms 1, Shostakovich Symphony No. 5, Berlioz Symphony Fantastique, Schubert 9, and the Ginastera Variaciones, the harp and bass movement from that great piece. And again, a great balance from all these stylistic periods, some more modern music, some classical era music. That is the quad, the deluxe edition, the gold edition, available in print form like I have here at Robertson & Sons or Renan Meyer Entertainment. You can get it in digital form. You can get the quads individually as well, both print and digital, or you can get them all together. I highly recommend this. And like I said in the intro, there are two books that I have used more than any other books in terms of my teaching, in terms of my playing. I've had, I don't even know how many students buy them over the years. They are Hal's Boardwalkin' and Strokin'. Whenever Hal decides to put something to paper, I take note, and this latest edition is absolutely outstanding. Bravo to Hal, bravo to Brent Edmondson. Thank you for putting this together. Everything is linked up in the description below. And if you enjoyed this deep dive on the quad, check out my Boardwalkin' video where I walk through that incredible resource from Hal as well. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.